Politics to us is like food. I wish we could push this energy we have for politics to economic activities. I think if we did that, Kenya will be the Singapore we are talking today. Now, let me talk about what is happening right now, where we have President Uhuru that everyone expected to be at home to enjoy his retirement. President Uhuru is becoming politically active, and rumors that we hear every day is that President Uhuru is doing whatever possible to have ODM and the United Opposition work together, and definitely that is against President Ruto's wishes. Now, if you listen to Junet, I don't know how you take what Junet said. You do take it as a rumor, or how do you really take it? I know for those who support President Uhuru, they will say that is still something good, and if President Uhuru is making such a step, then it is good. For those who support President Ruto, they are saying President Uhuru is sabotaging the chances of President Ruto being re-elected in 2027. Imagine this. If truly President Uhuru wants to buy ODM, imagine he wants to spend 1 billion Kenyan shillings. We know he's a wealthy man, but why would he spend 1 billion Kenyan shillings to buy ODM?
Tufanye namna gani? Anasema tuko na mpango mzuri. Ananiambia ati former president Uhuru Kenyatta anataka kusaidia sisi kwa chama chetu cha ODM. Mimi nimebaki tu kusema ati he is ready to invest over 1 billion shillings in our party, ati ili atusaidie chama yetu ikuwe imara, then tutashinda uchaguzi ujao tukienda kwa United Opposition. Anasema wengine wenu kama wewe, mimi najua ile kitu utaki ni huyu naitwa nani wa Munyoro, huyu Rigathi. Hakuna haja wewe, fanya hivi, wachana na Rigathi, tupite njia ya Uhuru tuingie kwa United Opposition. Call us brokers, call us thieves, call us anything. We are not leaving the broad-based government. It is you who is going to leave ODM. Wewe ndio utatoka ODM. Unatupeleka Uhuru Kenyatta. Uhuru Kenyatta alishindwa kufanya baba president akiwa na kila kitu. Alikuwa na military, alikuwa na polisi, alikuwa na army, na prison, na hata kanjo alikuwa naye. Alishindwa. Sasa unataka kuniambia twende kwa huyu aje atupeleke kwa United Opposition?
I know ODM right now is a hot cake, and trying to sell ODM that has been surveyed as the most popular party, the strongest party, a party that is over 20 years, selling it to any side is a terrible move. And Raila himself will be rolling the grave saying, I built this party so that this party can always be a party that will talk about the issues of the people. So if there's any move to sell the party, that remains wrong, and nobody should actually support that. But it makes sense for ODM and UDA to work together, because politics is about numbers. Politics is about building alliances. Here in Kenya, one political party cannot just win an election. You need alliances. And President Ruto and Raila worked so closely, and their focus was to have ODM and UDA work not just until 2027, but beyond that. That is something that we are talking about, that UDA and ODM, they're not just supposed to work until 2027, they're supposed to work post that. But people say this. Did Raila say that? But Raila say this. Can we focus first of all on the 10-point agenda? And then later the party would have an official statement. It makes sense. Guys, for 2027 politics, for you to get into any working relationship with another party, definitely you need an officially structured way of handling your working relationship. So Raila was making sense that we've not entered into any agreement, and that is sensible, that is plausible, because truly speaking, there is no such an agreement. And for President Uhuru now to make a move where he's splashing 1 billion Kenyan shillings to get ODM to his side. It makes sense because once they have ODM, then the united opposition will be stronger. But if President Uhuru wants to spend all that money, will he deliver to the opposition, where now they have ODM, and deliver the presidency to the opposition? That is not likely to work, because in the previous election, Uhuru was president, but he failed to deliver the presidency to Raila. Now that he's out of the presidency, how will he deliver the presidency to the united opposition? I know having ODM on his side increases the united opposition's bargaining power, but spending 1 billion Kenyan shillings to buy support from ODM, definitely it's just a move that seeks to sabotage President Ruto. I don't know the level of dislike President Uhuru has for President Ruto. I know President Uhuru and President Ruto, they've been together in the public. We've seen them walk side by side. We've seen them at State House last time when Uhuru visited State House for a certain summit, and they were so cordial. And President Ruto respects President Uhuru. But I don't know why he goes to the extent of dangling 1 billion Kenyan shillings so that ODM doesn't support President Ruto's re-election. That is just sabotage. It literally just means he doesn't want President Ruto to be in power. But look at it this way. When President Uhuru was in power, what good did he do to this country? He took our public debt from 1.85 trillion to about 10 trillion Kenyan shillings. For all that money that he borrowed, is Kenya first world? No, a lot of money was borrowed and looted. And right now, he's becoming more active politically. He wants to bring in Matiang'i, but this is the point. Jubilee will never get the presidency. That party is dead on arrival. Let me make sense to you. There's no way Jubilee Party will get back to the presidency. They can get an elective seat such as Member of Parliament, Women Rep, or even Governor. But for the presidency, put that aside. President Uhuru did not leave Kenya in a better state. He left Kenya more indebted. We have too much debt. He left Kenya more corrupt. A lot of money was lost. He borrowed a lot of money, and that money was lost. So, him getting politically active and trying to control what will happen in 2027 is definitely a bad move. So ODM has to stand strong. And I've argued that the best deal ODM can have is working with President Ruto and support his re-election. But working with the united opposition, where President Uhuru wants to be the patron, wants to control the united opposition politics, will be a terrible move by ODM. So I know when Junet says what he says, it could be true. And I also know that Sifuna has a soft spot for President Uhuru and those in the united opposition. But ODM must stand strong and work with President Ruto. I also know this, that President Uhuru was a close ally to Raila. We know this, the Odinga family and Kenyatta family have strong ties, and that we respect. We respect their relationship. But we also agree to this, that Raila and Ruto were so close. So allow things to be the way they are, where we have ODM and UDA working together. So dangling money is not a good move. And I know this, ODM will finally make a decision and support President Ruto's re-election. And I also understand this, President Uhuru will continue dangling his carrot because he believes it is still possible for the united opposition to make a stronger case for 2027. And President Ruto also is a strategist, and he understands how crucial it is to have the support of ODM. I know that Edwin Sifuna doesn't want ODM to work with President Ruto. And for him, it's not just about, ideological differences or what. There is also personal vendetta. He participated in the development of a 10-point agenda as ODM Secretary General. But today, he rubbishes what we have as broad-based government. And he talks about this revolutionary move. But will ODM allow that? Let's see, for how long will President Uhuru work on sabotaging ODM-UDA working relationship? Will Kenyans allow it to happen where the former president that left this country more in debt manage the politics of 2027? We love President Uhuru. Personally, I like him. He's a good personality and we respect that. But again, when it comes to the future of this country, I feel that President Uhuru should just participate like any other voter. But interfering with the politics of Kenya after leaving Kenya as indented as it is not a good move. So, why is President Uhuru trying to sabotage President Ruto's re-election in 2027? Always keep it here on Owen Row Podcast. Bye-bye.